Hi guys, welcome to the second episode of Inside Launchpad, where we talk about our initiative and all the things that are going on. Today we have got a very special guest for you guys. But before I introduce our special guest, let's talk about the team members and let the team members introduce themselves from Launchpad. First of all, to my right, Sarmad, how are we doing, my friend? Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Sarmad. I'm from Pakistan and I've studied electrical engineering, but nowadays I mostly work on software engineering projects.
Fantastic, great. And also we have the wild and the wonderful Anas, who's coming back for his second appearance. Anas.
Hi guys, how are you? Nice meeting you again. My name is Anas Abu Ghazali, Jordanian. I grew up here in UAE. I'm a robotics graduate and currently working in software and AI.
So, who is our guest? I mean, I could introduce myself, but you guys already know me from the first episode. I spoke quite a bit. But who is our guest? Well, he's the Community Development Manager at Microsoft and someone who I actually early on today had a podcast with. So you can go over to Microsoft Dev MEA to check that out. And I just want to take the time to introduce Hatim. Hatim, please.
So hello everyone, my name is Hatim Nagarwala and I work as a GTM manager for Microsoft, and I take care of the community, the app innovation and different aspects on the cloud. So I'm very excited to be here. Thank you, Saif, for inviting me here. And I'm one of the things which I love about is how developers and community members can come together and try to have more impact on this. So I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, and we're really excited to have you here and then speak about, maybe, what are some of the ways that Launchpad, and the community can, come together, as well as like some of the things that you do in general. So Hatim, first of all, could you please walk us through your backstory and, what your current role is, how you came onto it? It's a very interesting, we were speaking before, we should have pressed record before we did actually, but there was 40 minutes of conversation and I just want to cover over the backstory that you spoke about, because there's some real insights into who you are as a person. So yeah, go ahead.
So I started, and this was kind of a turning point in my life. So what happened is when I was doing my engineering and I saw a program from the company of Microsoft where it helped students to actually go ahead and express themselves, and there was a program called as Microsoft Student Partners. And I said, okay, let's go ahead and try this out. And what I did was I participated in it. I became a Microsoft student partner, and that was kind of a turning point where I started learning the technology. And not only learning the technology, I started to express myself and go and speak about technology with my fellow engineering students. And that's where, the spark of coming to a table or coming to an audience and talking about what you know, it helps you in two things. One, you learn more about that technology. And the second thing is you try to help your other fellow members to go ahead and, learn more about it. And then what? I always had a passion of software engineering. I started working on different projects, different languages and different technologies. I started as a mobile app developer. I grew and I became a solution architect. And then I thought, yes, I am now good with what we do in the tech, but I wanted to do something new. And in the parallel, because as you said, the passion of sharing your knowledge, it was very, you can say, it's always good to come in a crowd like this and bring your energy back up, right? And that's one of the reasons where I was contributing to communities. And back then in 2014, I started a group called as Microsoft Developers in UAE. And today that group has reached more than 2,500 developers. So it's one of the groups which is like my baby, and I have grown that since last 9 years. And that's how I also been landing this opportunity at Microsoft, where I go ahead and manage with the third-party communities. We work with different entities in the UAE, one of them being the Ministry of AI, where we have also partnered with doing a lot of other community events. And that's where we kind of come together, right? At the end of the day, it is not about the companies, but it's about how you have the passion about sharing your knowledge, as well as bringing something which is, valuable for your fellow members. And that's where I come from.
Yeah, I mean, it's been really exciting getting to know you. I mean, with Launchpad and what we're doing, to try to help the coding community further under Coders HQ. One thing that everyone kept on saying to me was that, what are you trying to do? I'm trying to do this. Oh, what are your sticking points? Oh, I'm trying to get XYZ thing. Oh, you should speak to Hatim. You should speak to him. And everyone, the amount of people that have told me to speak to you, it speaks as a testament to your work and your commitment within the community, that so many people within the coding community would refer to you directly, and then also, speak very highly of you as well. And that's something which, having experiences with community experiences and things like that myself is something that's very difficult to achieve, to be able to really have that, be that sort of glue, which is, facilitating and then also, taking care of people's interests and making sure that you're pushing the community forward. So that's something which I really do admire and wanted to praise you for as well. Now, obviously there's a few communities that you mentioned, like Coders HQ. Rama, who is meant to be on, who is unfortunately ill. Get well soon, Rama. There's Metavero as well that you've helped, and obviously we've had discussions potentially about Launchpad. But guys, more on that later. You'll have to watch a future episode for that. Just what has been some of the most interesting community involvements that you've had so far? And, what has been sort of like the most common challenges to overcome, I would say? What has been your experience? Has it been on the tech side, or has it been more on the personal side? Because the two have to merge together in order to provide value to the community.
Correct.
So, what is your opinion on that?
So, one of the things I would say is, in the past 9 years, I have seen many communities come up and go down as well. One of the key factors which I felt was consistency. Okay, many of the community members, they actually came in with a lot of excitement, and one of the platforms which I feel over here is, in a community space, if you stay long enough, you will understand the value, as well as you will actually reach to that point where you feel that yes, community is benefiting you as well as the peers around you, right? And when you gave the example of Metavero, right? I'll give the example of Rama. I really like the way she took Metavero and to the place where she had it today. So one of the things is, yes, I contributed, but not that much. The main credit actually goes to Rama. And I'll quickly summarize that. So what happened was, there was a Microsoft hackathon which was happening last year in Jitex, and she was one of the winners. So when you asked me the question about tech, so it is not about tech. She never knew anything about mixed reality. She came to that hackathon, she started learning about metaverse, and that's when she thought about, okay, let me start a community. If I can learn that fast, all other people can learn as well. So that's where she started this community. And for me, it was and this I like it, which is, I love that people go ahead and I love to generate enthusiasm in them, right? So my thing was to just spark a bit of enthusiasm in Rama, and then kind of push her from behind, and that's it. So that's how a community is born. And that's not only one community which I have worked with. So there are many communities in UAE, in Saudi, in Qatar. So it's like all around in Middle East, and people want to actually do this. It's just the lack of motivation, the lack of enthusiasm, and understanding of what would be the benefit to you and to your peers. Usually there's always a one-sided benefit, which is you think of trying to get something out from the community, but no, it's not always like that. It's always a two-way relationship in that case.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really key point that you touched across on there. The idea of what is driving that person, because it becomes a moment in time where the person's own self-interest, it dies out.
Correct.
And it's the same thing with a company, actually. Like when you're starting a company, because it is brutal, especially when you get into the later stages. Ask anyone who's ever tried fundraising or raising any money for investment, anything like that. They'll tell you, and that's just one aspect of business. But with how it is that you're saying is that when you align values that you hold personally, and there's, you have that environment around you, and it ties back to what Shadha was saying in the first episode, actually, Anas, doesn't it? About cultivating the environment and what we were speaking about over there. And when you have that, that's where, again, and then when you apply time to it as well, that's when you get the moments where you're actually able to truly push forward. Because oftentimes the limit at where you are as a person, like personally, is just before the breakthrough moment.
Correct.
Is just after, is just beyond what you think you are capable of doing. And what is it that you can do in order to help you bridge that gap? From someone, myself personally, from my own experiences, and guys, feel free to share as well. But it's that moment of when you realize that, wait a minute, I've got a community behind me, I've got a mission behind me, I can take that, I can push that forward. And you get the idea of, like, you'll turn up and, like, you might be down and out, or whatever it is, really struggling with a problem, and someone just gives you that little bit of, it's okay, we're going to figure it out. Or that moment where, for example, in the Launchpad team, we had, like, was it 3 weeks? 2 products.
Okay, yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Guys, remember when I said 10 products in 10 weeks and you all thought I was crazy? Do you guys think I'm crazy now?
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Definitely not anymore. So in 3 weeks, we're now 5 weeks since we had the idea. Isn't that correct, Sheher? Sheher's off camera, our fact checker. But it's 5 weeks since we had the idea, 3 weeks since we had the idea. So 2 weeks ago, we created 2 products. Okay. Now, one thing that I found really motivational was that I was back in the UK for some of that period of time. And it was waking up in the morning and seeing that you guys had already done that XYZ, ABC, all these tasks has already been done. And the motivation that I felt that, right, okay, this just feels fantastic. I could supercharge and push ahead. You know what I mean? Because it's the durability of thought, and it's how you build the team, and the team feeds into each other, and you get that excitement, and you end up producing what I can just call a synergy together, where everyone's energies are combining together, and they're just emboldening what you've done already, and what you're doing, and that's what really helps you push you forward. So when you're speaking about the community and that aspect of it's not just an individual mission, I speak to that personally. And Anas, what do you think to that? I mean, you came into it separately, from the Launchpad team, your first foray into kind of business team dynamics in the way that we've had it over here, like how it would be in a startup, although we're a community initiative, Launchpad, we've been handling a startup. What do you think to that?
Yeah, actually, what Hatim said caught my mind is that there are many communities, but not all of them actually, let's say, survive or continue. And I think it's a shared responsibility between the community members, both between the people who set the vision of that community and the members themselves, to not only have this temporary excitement or excitement for whatever reason, that specific moment. With time, people will start to maybe focus on, shift their focus, or maybe they will try to, if they got what they want from the community and they are not feeling attached to that community anymore, this is a shared responsibilities between the leaders of that community to keep pushing and the vision, and the members have to have the enough commitment to continue as well. And this is something I wanted to also ask like our guest, that how can such communities continue growing? And this is something I believe that Microsoft, many meetups of Microsoft are successfully doing.
So that's a great question. So how do we continue it, right? One of the key points over here is, and I said that before, was the motivation part of it, right? So how that motivation would come, the point which you mentioned, how would the community leaders and the members actually attach with each other, right? Or how do they actually gel with each other here? So the first part is, I'll answer the first part of it, which is the community part. How would they continue it? And then continuation would come from a motivation, and that motivation helps with different programs. So for example, there is a Microsoft Most Valuable Professional program where you're awarded as a community hero. There is Azure Heroes program, and there are so many community programs out there to actually support you to get that recognition. Once you have that recognition, you got one of the push, and one of the local initiatives which we have over here in UAE as well is the UAE Coders Ambassadors, right?
Yeah.
And what that does to us is you get a motivation to be in the community as well as try to contribute more, because what happened is you got a recognition. Now that recognition helped your 100 different peers to go ahead and have that goal that, okay, one day I will become that ambassador or I'll become that MVP, right? And that is where what a community leader always should do is share the passion, share the journey and the story about him, and share how it is beneficial to him. So what will happen is that recognition, if everyone tries to go ahead, not everyone will get it, but at least that is how the communication would go forward. And at the end of the day, the reason why community is there is you solve your problems, you bring your problems to the table, and as a community, you don't differentiate. You come and you say that, okay, you have a problem, let's go ahead and solve it together. And the point which you mentioned with Launchpad, right? I loved this idea, which is you build 2 products within 3 weeks of time. And how did that happen? And how, like, if you see over here on the table as well, we have a good diversity, and that diversity actually came from the community, right? People who had knowledge, who had the passion to work into this, they came together, and this is where we all collaborated and gave your input, which actually made a team. And that is how the community works. Everybody brings their true self in the community. You don't do that 100% of the time when you're doing a job, but in a community, it's about your own will to go and to contribute and to to give to that, and that's where you have more success in the community. So that's how you motivate, that's how you bring the community together and keep it going. That's the, I feel, the key of running behind a community.
Okay, speed and continuous achievements, I would say, is a
Good summarization, and as everyone knows that I love speed. But
I think in addition to speed, we should also, as you were saying earlier, we should also focus on consistency. I think I read somewhere that, I think it was on Twitter or something, that never bet against the person who just keeps showing up. So
definitely.
It's just about, like, you're building something and you're not sure entirely like how it's going to turn out, but the more tries you have at it, the more chances of success you have.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, look, people often misconstrue what it is that I mean when I say speed is everything. You have 4 levels of competency. I'm going to touch upon this very briefly, but you have, I've got to make sure that I don't get my tongue twisted over here. So you have unconsciously incompetent, so you don't know what you don't know. So you're in the worst spot.
Yeah.
Then you have consciously incompetent. So you know what it is that you don't know, so now you can go and learn it.
Correct.
The next step up is that you have consciously competent. So now you're able to do the thing it is that you didn't know before, but it takes all of your effort, all of your energy, and then the final step is that you are unconsciously competent. Now you are able to do that task, and you are able to do it extremely well. It's part of your subconscious. You don't have to think about it. It's second nature. Think about it. A lot of us, we started off as programmers.
Yes.
And I know my experience when I first started programming was very brutal, so that was something which, I started off at a certain position and now I'm better. There's certain programming tasks where I don't even need to think about it. There's other programming tasks, where like you have to learn and you have to go through the 4 levels of competency. Now, what's one thing is that when I'm talking about speed, what I'm saying is that you do not decrease the quality level of what it is that you're doing. I'm saying that you have to learn as quickly as possible how to become unconsciously competent, so you are able to hit the required quality mark every single time. And then you need to learn how to repeatedly hit that quality mark, taking less and less time with each iteration that you do. So when we're talking about speed, a lot of people, they come up to me and they make the same point, that you've mentioned, which is about, consistency, but they also say to me that, like, don't sacrifice, if you're moving too quick, you can't, ensure quality. Yes, you can if you're a competent enough person.
Yeah.
If you can understand how to make yourself competent enough, you can do it. So in a summary of the 4 levels of competency, when we're talking about speed, we're talking about complete, wholly competent people that are able to move at speed. Now, guys, one thing that we said on the Launchpad is that when I was saying speed, one thing that you guys will remember as well is that when we were leading the charge for the first project, which you guys are going to find out in the next episode, in episode 3, so keep your eyes out for that, we'll announce it there. But you guys remember that I was constantly adjusting the horizons for what it was that we were doing, for many reasons. We didn't have the platforms that we wanted to be able to develop on. Hopefully Hatim, wink wink, nudge nudge,
yes.
You know what I mean? Hopefully, inshallah, there'll be something to announce over there. But another thing was that for the stage of company that we're building, the quality bar isn't so high. If a business is a 100-step journey where step 100 is you exiting the business, a successful exit, whether that's, you IPO or you sell the company, whatever it is, whatever form that takes, a lot of people think they need to make a company that you'd make at stage 20, step 20. You don't. You need something that you'd make at steps 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So from that perspective, what you're saying about, speed and competency, but look at, from the community perspective, because I'm going to cut myself short on that point because we're going to cover it in depth quite a bit later on. But from the community standpoint, look at how well the Launchpad team gelled together.
Indeed. Yeah.
Hatim, 10 days ago, me and you spoke.
Yes.
We were in a different country. And then today, this is the second podcast that we've recorded. Guys, if you want to see Hatim's podcast, I suggest you check it out. I had a nice peruse of some of the content he's put out to prepare for his podcast that I did earlier on today. But, the speed at which you move, you can create the bonds that you need a lot more quickly, and you can understand exactly what it is about that person.
Yes.
And you can understand what's making that person tick. And when it comes down to community, everything's derived from the outlook of what is the end goal, what is the deliverable that you guys have achieved.
Yes.
Now, for example, guys, with the Launchpad team, we wouldn't have anywhere near the bond that we've grown. Everyone on the team's talking about the bond that we've grown. Shahid, would you agree?
Agreeing from behind the...
Shahid didn't want to come onto the podcast, but we like him to be part at all times, to take part at all times. But the bond, everyone agrees that we've created a really strong bond with each other, and that comes down to the fact that we moved at speed, we handled things competently, we treated each other with respect, we handled it with a degree of professionalism, but everyone's united in this community goal of bringing people together and giving them what they need in order to launch a business and things like that. So yeah, I mean that's a long way away from where you were with the comment about speed and consistency. But it's so key, Sarmad, and you're bang on the money with it.
Absolutely. And I was telling you about the consistency earlier, but speed is just as important. I think I'm not sure, like, if I remember correctly, there was a CEO on Twitter. I saw a tweet that a CEO resigned, and then the one that took his place. So the first thing that he said to his employees that fast is as slow as we move. Like he basically just outright just said to his employees that fast is as slow as we move. Mm-hmm. Like there's no excuses to not be moving fast, because it just gives you an advantage that the quicker you can try, and the more, moving quickly just gives you more things you can try, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because everyone knows that my mantra is speed. Earlier on this week when we had the meeting with Coders HQ, Coders HQ, officially supporting us. I can say that, right, Sheher? Is that the right wording, Sheher? Okay, Sheher's rubber stamped it. So if Coders HQ aren't happy, they can shout at him. But, one thing that I mentioned to you, Anas, was that when you're in a meeting, you actually go slower. Because in that circumstance, slow is smooth and smooth is fast.
Yes.
So it's the perception of the speed. And other times when you're actually trying to deliver something, you actually need to be fast. So it comes into various different, and across the community, like one thing that I've been really proud of with the community over here, and I'm interested to hear what people's opinions is that how open they are to new methods and new ways. And I think it's something to do with the amount of innovation that's going on within the region. Hatim, if you could, again, one of the things was that, what are some of the interesting projects and things like that. But, when we're talking about innovation, what do you think of, just the level of talent that is within the UAE? I mean, obviously you're experiencing multiple different regions, and being in your position, you're obviously quite privileged in that you get to hear about a lot of things well before a lot of us do, actually, top secret. But how is that experience for you? It must be riveting, it must be exciting.
It is very exciting, and I'll tell you something here, right? The region which we are in right now, there is so much of potential, and I'll give you one very simple example and how it has reached to the world stage, right? So actually there are two success stories which have come out recently in the UAE. One of them being the smart tutor, which the Ministry of Education has adopted in the UAE, right? That has been reached to most part of the world, where people are trying to see, and that is why it was done, is they adopted the OpenAI technology within 6 months down the line and started using in the smart tutor applications, right? And the second part was just announced last Friday, last Thursday or Friday, I think so. And this was, and I'm not sure whether everyone in the room knows about this. So there was a new large language model for Arabic, which was launched at Microsoft Ignite, which now supports, like, you know how you interact with ChatGPT in English?
Yeah.
You have that available in Arabic right now, which is made in UAE. So that's now available as a model, as a service, and this has not happened in any other language right now. And this has been promoted worldwide, where now Javis AI can actually go ahead and you can use that to have an LLM model which you can interact in Arabic. So that's kind of an innovation, a level of innovation you actually see which is coming from UAE, right?
Yeah.
And this is, again, it's sometimes it's good to be privileged about knowing all these things, but sometimes it is too overwhelming, right? Because you see so many things going around, and at a point of time you feel that, okay, you might not be contributing to that as much as you want to, or you want to catch up to everything like this, right? And I want to come back again to to your part of the perspective of speed here, right? That actually matters to which angle you're looking at and what is your end goal, and that is how you reach it. So whatever the speed you are actually looking at, it's about what is your end goal and how you are planning to reach at it. So that's something, and that's why, looking at everything happening around in UAE, and you see, if you consider the map of UAE, it's small, right? But you go and ask anyone in the whole world, they will know where UAE is.
The impact is huge.
The impact is huge.
Yeah.
Correct. And that's why the things coming from UAE, it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
So
no, I mean, we were speaking earlier on about the talent in the UAE and how, we truly believe in the talent and, what it is that, they're able to achieve. Some of the best AI engineers that I've seen out here, and a lot of them are very young as well. Very impressionable. And that is how obviously the Launchpad Initiative was born out, which is that let's show these guys how to create their own companies.
Correct.
Because if they have this much amount of knowledge here right now, if they can add the strings to the bow, which is around business and all the business acumen and things like that, all of a sudden you've got a supercharged nation which is going to end up becoming the new tech center of the world.
100%.
Something which I think will happen very soon, actually. I don't know if you guys agree with me on this, but I truly do believe that the UAE within the next 10 to 15 years, and that's being conservative, will become the new tech hub of the world, just simply by what I'm seeing coming out of here. And Arabic is huge as well. Arabic is not a simple language to create a model out of. I mean, in the group when we're writing out the captions for the social media posts that go out, and there's such a debate that goes on, about which letters to use where and what's going on over here. And Sheher is smiling, but these guys drove me crazy because I'd literally send it in and 5 people would send me like 10 different drafts, and I'd be like, guys, just give me one. Create your own separate group, discuss it in there, and then just send me the final version. And like sometimes you guys be like, this is the final version, but now this is the final version, and at some point, but that goes to illustrate just how complex of a language is. So if you've got an area, a region such as the UAE, where the tech, infrastructure and the talent over here is such that they're able to model the Arabic language, what can't they do? One word can have 15 meanings.
100%.
And how you construct your sentences, there's any number of meanings that could be derived from there. And it's the beauty of the language, and it's the beauty of the region as well.
And as someone as me who grew up here in UAE, in the last 20 years, UAE have changed a lot. And with the power of AI and many bright minds who are all actually moving in this region, I thought you mentioned like 10 to 15 years. I claim that it's going to be also like shorter period of time, which we see many new initiatives and innovatives here.
Yeah, I think that it's a case of how long will it take to get a few unicorn companies born out of the UAE. And a unicorn takes a long amount of time. It's not something which happens overnight. The quickest amount of time a unicorn had to him, I mean, your experience, you could be able to speak better to this than I can. But a typical unicorn is going to take someone anywhere between a 5 to 7 year journey.
Correct.
Just with all the rounds that they've got to do, then they've got to actually build a product and everything like that. So for that reason, like that's just to get one unicorn, and I would say that once you get a critical mass, for me, a critical mass would be somewhere in the region of around 5 to 7 unicorns. Not to repeat the numbers that I've just said, but 5 to, in that region of unicorns, because what will happen is that you'll have a mass of companies that are worth, 8 figures, and you'll have an even more number of companies that are worth, 7 figures, and then, so on and so forth. And when you get that level of innovation, that's what's going to come. So this is the reason why I said 10 to 15, but I could easily see it happening sooner.
Yes.
But just because of the time frames that it would take to push the unicorns, up there, that's where I would just, is there something you want to say?
Yeah, I just want to say that, like, just expanding on what you said, that the talent here is like, it's huge. Like the amount of talent we have here. I was here back in June earlier this year, and there was a competition at Coders HQ, and we were to just use GPT to create a lesson planner for teachers so that they could use that in their schools and so on. So obviously a lot of people were participating in that, but what I was most surprised by is the sort of the demographics of people. Like there were all kinds of people. Like there are high school students and there are just like professionals. So I was surprised that because there was this girl sitting next to me. She was, I think, high school student, and even she had no idea like how to code and so on. But she was still trying, like using ChatGPT to spit out some HTML and then trying in the browser and see if it's working or not. So I think that's like if you see that obviously there is need for it for to guide people to do better in this regard. So obviously something like Launchpad would be much better in terms of like not just creating projects, but also like converting them to products that actually mean something in the world.
Yeah, I mean, guys, check out the podcast me and Hatim did, because covered off this point. But that I'm about to say. But just for the sake of completeness, yeah, you know, you get some people that build a feature, you know, and then they go look for a problem.
Yes.
And they never last. And you get some people that they find a community, and they spend enough time, like Hatim said, you know, and we're echoing what you said earlier on. But they spend enough time there, and they find the people, and they start to notice the problems within that community. And then what they do is that they apply their knowledge that they have, and they take that forward. So yeah, you know, that's exactly the kind of things that people can look forward to at Launchpad, like you said over there. And you've seen firsthand yourself just how much the focus is on the end user, you know, both of you guys, you know, you've seen that as well. And Hatim, you know, hopefully very soon you'll get to see it as well, and we'll be able to speak more on that. But you know, we've spoken for quite a long amount of time. Hatim, you know, is there anything that you would like to say, or you know, anything that any message that you like to leave us with, or is there anything that you would like to, for example, promote, anything like that? You know, take it away. You know.
So actually, I want to connect 2 points here.
Okay, go ahead.
One is so I come back to your unicorn point over here, right? You see how the technology is evolving so fast, right? You saw, for example, ChatGPT. If you see it today, it completed just 1 year, right? And within 1 year, you have more than 800 million users who are already using ChatGPT, correct? That the unicorn timeline of 5 years will easily get reduced to maybe 2 to 3 years if the technology is at this pace, right?
Yeah.
And why I'm trying to connect that point here is, our whole discussion, or you know, the point of the discussion was community, right? And the different interactions of the community is also very important. And what I like about this over here is, I want to come back to your Launchpad initiative, okay? As a Launchpad initiative, the first thing when I see it from an external user, it's a very unique program where one of the things which I loved about it is, see, you have technology, you have knowledge about technology everywhere on the internet. You can see like thousands of YouTube videos, courses, and things lying around for free where you can learn that technology, okay? And that gets outdated way soon as well. But what is not mattered, or what is not given importance, is how you do that, okay? And one of the initiatives which I liked with Launchpad was, just as an example, take 24 hours and know how to start your company. And this is only been taught, or how you can learn this is from the people who have already tried it, right? And that's where I feel that's a unique opportunity in this community in 2 things. One is, experienced people come and share the knowledge of how to do that. And I will connect many different points as well, is the speed. So 24 hours is a very good time. People can say that, okay, it's a less amount of time where you're doing something, but that leaves such a long impact. You won't imagine it today, but you will understand it when you actually go ahead and start your own company. This is one, adds a motivation to you. Second, it goes ahead and tells you on the important parts. So for example, and I had this chat with you, Saif, also, is, you know, while you started a company where you failed, and you can actually share that part of the knowledge to the other peers that, okay, I failed at this point, so don't make the same mistake again. And that's where, when you do it on a regular basis, and I love this thing, which is, it's a new way of interacting with your audiences, right? You're not going and speaking about anything. You're not going and doing a pre-sales pitch. You are going in there, putting yourself into the shoes of a founder. Maybe you don't have an idea, you don't have a product today, but when you go through that process, and as like, you know, the same example, you don't go ahead and build something and then find out customers for it. You go ahead and find out the problem. And that is how you would find the problem, is when you actually go put yourself into the shoes and understand, okay, I have this problem, and go ahead to that. So what I want to conclude here, Saif, right, is the most important thing for us here today is how we are coming together in this initiative as Launchpad. And, you know, I loved the initiative, and that's why I'm here, right? That's why I'm sold, and I'm loving the idea that we could actually spread our knowledge. And I love the idea. Build 3 products, build 2 products within 3 weeks of time. It's
we could have done it a lot quicker.
Yes, and and the best part here is you learn something on the go. You are building something which, okay, today if you're not able to solve that problem, but at least because you are under pressure at that time, and I have been, so I have a Guinness Book of World Record for having maximum number of developers working on a hackathon. So it was 27,000 developers working under one roof, working for different types of projects, right? And I was a mentor there. And I know the hackathon was like 18 to 24 hours period of time, but that hackathon impact was around, if I say 12,000 applications came out of that hackathon. Wow. So the end goal here is, right, you were given that 24 hours, and I'm not talking about product here. I'm talking about the way you will be successful in taking that product ahead. We said, right, communities come up and go. Same, companies come up, they bring a new startup, and the startup can go down like this, right? And the main point here is, using this program, you actually are empowering yourself, and you're empowering other people to go ahead and build yourself. And coming back to the unicorn point is, you never know, the 10 people who joined your Launchpad, one of them is going to be a unicorn in the next 3 to 5 years as well, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And that's the beauty of it.
I have no doubt that this is going to become the new San Francisco. But obviously, with the UAE's twist and flavor to it, which is very unique and very distinctive as well. And it's something which, in the meeting with Coders HQ, actually, when we were speaking about some of the future plans and future ideas, I'm not going to give everything away, guys. You're going to have to subscribe, follow, turn up to the workshops, and you'll see as and when we're ready to announce. But some of the ideas and that we were just coming out with was just absolutely amazing. Real foresight. The UAE, they want to be the best in everything, and what I can say is that in the startup scene, they are going to be the best at it. And that's just judging off where the vision is, and how much are they putting behind it, and how much people such as partners such as yourself and various many others are really getting behind it, and the passion is coming forward. But thank you very much for your time, Hatim.
Thank you
really
for having
appreciate you coming on. And Sarmad, is there anything that you want to summarize from there? Any messages you want to send? Sarmad, you want to show everyone how great your suit is that you wore upstage with me today? So I'm a little bit upset at that, but it's okay.
One thing comes to mind from what Hatim said. Remember earlier this week, before our meeting with Coders HQ, there is a very nice statement we saw. That having ideas does not make you a leader, but executing them what makes you a leader. And through the workshops and hackathons we're gonna do is not only we're gonna mentor them and give them any heads up for what to avoid and what to focus on. We're gonna put them on the spot to be actually executors of such ideas. So I think this is a very good potential, and imagine we scale with that.
I would like to just say that this is the best place there where we could have done this. There's literally a Ministry of Artificial Intelligence. I don't think it exists anywhere else in the world. And
not to this level.
That's true.
And the focus, like the support from the government and overall from the communities, is really great. And also I think the LLM Falcon, I think that also came from the UAE. I think it's one of the best LLMs in the world, the open source ones. So I think it's great that we're doing this, and this is the best place to do this. And let's see how it goes.
Yep. So thanks everyone for your contribution and your time. Really appreciate it. And thank everyone for watching as well, and sharing and liking and subscribing. So we'll be announcing our workshops very, very soon. They're all ready. We're just waiting until Cheher lets us know when it's okay to send it. And also we'll be waiting for Sarmad to get back from his air show that he'll be going to, because he doesn't respond to messages when he's at his air show. So thanks very much for listening, guys. Really appreciate the time. Also want to thank Hatim again, once again, and we can't wait to bring on more guests such as this to show you the type of people that we're going to be working with, to try and partner with, to really, bring this community a step forward. So thanks very much, and see you on the next one.